Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to learn about the periodic table of elements. Periodic table is the base of chemistry. You have to learn periodic table thoroughly, and I think you have learned it quite sincerely since you was a student of class 8, 9, 10 or 11, 12 also. So just we are going to repeat some periodic properties, and then we have one special chapter, third chapter, that classification of elements, and we will learn some specific elements based on our interest, because you have to use lot of semiconducting materials, because as a computer science engineers you have to prepare different types of devices. So most of the devices are created by different semiconducting materials. So after having some idea about the periodic table, we will move to some specific elements: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, like this, some semiconducting materials. So today we are going to learn about the very simply learning about the periodic table or periodic properties of the elements, and then we will go in the semiconducting materials what we have to learn. So first of all, what is periodic table? Periodic table is an arrangement of elements what we know, but how we will arrange. The arrangement is not any whimsical or any random arrangement. It has some specific arrangement rules. First of all, mm, Mendeleev. Mendeleev has arranged all the elements known that time based on some characteristics, and also he has proposed or he has arranged all the elements according to their atomic weights. Though he could find out some trends, but his arrangement was not perfect. However, he could arrange all the elements known by that time. That was quite perfect, though he was not 100% accurate. However, nowadays we are going to learn, and we have changed, or scientists have changed the periodic law after finding some difficulties on the laws or rules of Mendeleev's. What is that? Nowadays scientists are arranging all the elements according to their atomic number. So Mendeleev arranged all the elements according to their atomic weights. That means nowadays we call it mass number. So mass number means mass of number of neutron and number of protons in the nucleus. Actually, if we arrange all the elements according to the mass number, in that case we have some difficulties that the properties in the same group cannot be represented by exactly the mass numbers or atomic weights. So scientists found that if we put or if we arrange the elements instead of atomic weights, if we use the atomic number, in that case the arrangement can be even better. So periodic table is the arrangement of elements according to their properties and according to their atomic mass. So in simply we can say the periodic table of elements is the arrangement of atoms or elements according to their mass, atomic mass, uh, or atomic number. And if we arrange all the elements according to their atomic number, then the periodic properties, the properties of that element changes after a certain period. So or it comes periodically. So today we will learn the periodic characteristics of different elements in the periodic table. First of all, let us consider here. If we consider the size of the elements or atomic radius of elements, so if we go from top to bottom, what happens? You can see this is first period and first group, group 1, first period, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So if we go from top to bottom in the periodic table, what happens? Every time we add one extra shell, this element or this atom has only one shell or one energy level. This has 2, this has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the atomic radius for all the elements increases from top to bottom as the number of atoms go from top to bottom. The number of energy shell or number of electronic shell is increasing. So for this one it has only one shell or one energy level, and for this one 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like this. So from top to bottom the size of the atom or radius of the atom increases. And if you consider the value, if you want to see how the value of the radius increases, here you can see this is the hydrogen. Now you can see the radius, calculated radius is 53 picometer. This is the value for hydrogen, that means the first element of the periodic table and also in the first element in the group 1. Then go for lithium. You can see radius is 167 picometer. If we go for sodium, you can see 190. For potassium, 243. Rubidium, 265. So we are observing that as we go from top to bottom, the size of the atomic radius increases, and that is due to the addition of extra energy level. So the distance from the center to the outermost shell increases, therefore the radius of the atom also increases. Now if we go from left to right, what happens? If we go from left to right, in that case we do not add any extra energy level. So we have only, let us consider for this one, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. In that case, if we go from left to right, in that case what happens? Just addition of one extra proton and one extra electron. So in that case what happens? We can see that increasing of one proton and one electron. So for this atom it has 3 protons and 3 electrons in the atomic orbital or in the nucleus. In nucleus it has only 3 proton, and in the outermost shells or outer shells 3 electrons. So the attraction between 3 protons and 3 electrons has certain value. You are familiar with the formula, the force equal F1 into M2 divided by d square multiplied by g. That means you are familiar with these types of formula. That means attraction or repulsion force. So if you have these types of charge, how many? 3 proton and 3 electrons. So if you consider the number of charge as or Coulomb's law, not the মহাকর্ষ সূত্র যেটা আছে, you should consider about the Coulomb's law, because here we are considering about the charge. So the electron and proton has different opposite charges. So we have 3 protons and 3 electrons. So the attraction between this will have certain value, where Q1 and Q2 are 3 and 3. So the attraction force has certain value, but if we move from left to right, every time we move one step, the number of electron and number of proton is increasing. So the attraction force is multiplication of the charges m1 sorry q1 and q2. So this has 3 positive charge and 3 negative charge, and this one has 4 positive charge, 4 negative charge. So the attraction between this atom will be even more, for this one even more. So if we go for left to right in a periodic table, then the attraction between the negatively charged electron and positively charged proton in the center is increasing. Therefore the outer shell is compressed. So the attraction, if the attraction is more, in that case it will come more closer. So the outermost shell, that means for this one we have only two shells or two energy levels. So the outermost shell or shell is coming closer to the nucleus. So the radius of the atom is decreasing. So let's see what is the value for this shell. Here you can see the radius is 167 picometer. For beryllium it is 112 picometer. For boron 87 picometer, carbon 67, nitrogen 56, oxygen 48, and fluorine 42, even for neon 38. So as we go from left to right in a periodic table, the increasing the number of protons and number of new electrons, so it has increased the attraction force between the opposite charges. Therefore the size of the shell, outermost shell, is compressed. Therefore the radius of the atom decreases. Okay. Now if we go for another property, I have prepared like this way. So as we go from top to bottom, the size of the element increases or size of the atom increases, and if we go from left to right, the size of the atom decreases, because here we add one extra energy level every time, but in this case we do not add any energy level. In the same energy level we increase the number of electrons and number of protons, so the attraction between these two increases. Therefore the radius of the atom decreases. Now what about the melting and boiling points? So for melting and boiling points, if we go from top to bottom, what happens? Already we have mentioned the size of the element increases from top to bottom. So if the size of the atom increases, in that case what will happen? The outermost shell will have very less interaction to the nucleus. Therefore it is easy to heat up. So if you heat up the molecule or the atom, in that case what will happen? The outermost shell electron can be ejected very easily. So it is the attraction between the further electron, it has very less attraction compared to the nearby one. So if we consider for an element or atom which has a very large radius, it has very less interaction to the nucleus. Therefore it is easy to heat up for melting or boiling. So as we go from top to bottom, the melting and boiling point decreases, but actually the melting and boiling point decreases not a very large amount, because their physical property and chemical property are more or less similar. Therefore their melting and boiling point changes, but not a significant amount. But in case of period, if we go from left to right, what happens? It has no specific trend. However, if we can show some trend, in that case, first, from if we go from left to right, the melting and boiling point increases up to certain point or up to certain element, and then again it decreases. So melting and boiling point has no significant trend for a period. However, if we want to show some trend, in that case we can say that the melting and boiling point of any of the elements in the periodic table increases when we move from left to right, and after certain period or after certain position, that the melting point and boiling point decreases. So let's see the example or real value in the periodic table. For melting point and boiling point, this is our melting point. For this column or this value will show the melting point. For lithium, melting point 180.54 degrees Celsius. For beryllium, it is 1287. That means increased quite a lot, and that is directly related to the size. You can consider as the size of the atom decreases, so the attraction between the atom increasing, sorry, the nucleus and the electron is increasing, therefore you can consider, but it do not follow exactly through the period. So what I have mentioned, the melting point and boiling point will increase up to certain period and then it will decrease. So we found here the melting point of lithium is 180.5 degrees Celsius. For beryllium, it is beryllium 1287 degrees Celsius. For boron, it is 2075 degrees Celsius. For carbon, it is even larger, 3642 degrees Celsius. And then for nitrogen, you will see it decreases rapidly. For nitrogen, minus 210 degrees Celsius. And then for oxygen, even low, minus 218. For fluorine, minus 220. So for these three is very low, and for neon, minus 248. So when we go from left to right, the melting point and boiling point of the elements increases rapidly. You can consider 190 and then 1287, then 2075, then it is 3642. After that it drops less than 0. That means for nitrogen, minus 210 degrees Celsius. Here you can see that the melting point for nitrogen. So as we have mentioned, in a period the melting point and boiling point increases up to a certain position and then decreases rapidly. Therefore we can say for the melting point and boiling point for a periodic table in the group, it decreases as we go from top to bottom and increases up to certain point and then decreases along the period. What is about metallic character? Metallic character, what does it mean, the metallic character? The metallic character is the ability to donate electrons. Any element or any atom who can donate electron to someone is known as metallic character. So as we go from top to bottom, already you have mentioned the size of the atom increases, therefore the interaction between the inner shell nucleus or the proton and neutron, the interaction between the electron and the nucleus decreases. So if you want to remove one electron, That can be even easier because the attraction between the outermost electron decreases as the size becomes very large. Therefore, if we consider that the size of the atom increases, therefore there is less interaction, so it is easier to remove one electron, or it can donate one electron to someone very easily. Therefore, the metallic character from top to bottom increases. Similarly, as we have mentioned, the size of the atom decreases along a period. Here you can see, as we go from top to bottom, the metallic character decreases. So metallic character decreases, that means in a period we can see the first element, this element is metal, this is also metal, and then if we go from left to right, we can see that the metallic character decreases. So this is pure metal, and this is non-metal, non-metal, we can consider this is non-metal, and in between, you will find out some semi-metal or semiconductor. That means as we go from left to right, the metallic character decreases. So this is pure metal and this is pure non-metal, this is also non-metal. So in between we have some elements who has some characteristics. Sometimes it acts as a metal and sometimes it acts as a non-metal. Therefore they are known as semi-metal, or later we will precisely mention that are semiconductor based on the conductivity. So metallic character or conductivity we can consider in similar way. So the conductivity for this element is very high and this decreases a little bit. So as we go from left to right, the conductivity of that elements decreases, and from here this is the most conductive in the periodic second period, and the neon will be the minimum conductivity. Neon will have the minimum conductivity. So in between these two uh, extreme case, lithium is extremely or that means in this group, sorry, in this period the lithium is the extreme metallic and this is extreme non-metallic. So in between we will have certain elements or some element who has some the middle character or the character in between metal and non-metal. So we can consider that as non-metals. So we will be focused on these types of elements more because we are interested to learn about more about the semiconductors. And I think in some of your undergraduate level course you can find out the semiconductor properties, or you can maybe you may have the pure a course regarding the semiconductor. Even in last semester I have taught the triple E, and there I have taught the semiconducting materials course. So not only that, theory of semiconducting materials. So sometime you may have theory or practical also. So as we have mentioned that the metallic character, if we go from top to bottom, the metallic character increases, and if we go from left to right, the metallic character decreases, and if we go up to the last one, that is 100% or pure non-metal, and this is metal. So we have certain elements in between that they can behave like as sometime as metal or sometime as non-metal. Therefore we will consider that as semi-metal or semiconductor. Now what about other things? Ionization potential. What is ionization potential? First of all you have to remember. Any of you can define what is ionization potential? Anyone?
No, sir.
বাংলায় বলি আয়নাইজেশন, আয়নাইজেশন পটেনশিয়াল না, আয়নিক শক্তি মানে হলো how much energy is released. Let us consider for a period or periodic table. You can go. This is an element. This is an element. Last class we have found the electronic configuration. So for first period or first group, what is the electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s1. So if it removes one electron, then it can have the stable configuration for the nearby inert atom or nearby inert configuration. So for lithium or the sodium, this sodium has the electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. That means the sodium has, let us consider, I can show you here. This is the configuration. The first lithium has, you can see in the first shell. If I remove the cursor, then it will go away, so I cannot remove. So in the first shell it has 2 electrons. In the second shell it has 1 electron. So or even for the sodium, you can see in the first shell it has 2 electrons, in the second shell it has 8 electrons, in the third shell it has 1 electron. So if it removes 1 electron, if it removes 1 electron, then it can become stable. Like as if I remove 1 electron from the third shell, then you will get the configuration exactly like as neon. Here you can see neon has 2 electrons in the first shell and 8 electrons in the second shell. Therefore if we remove 1 electron from sodium, then it can have the configuration of neon. So it will become very stable, because we know these group elements, that means helium, neon, argon, these types of elements, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, all of these elements have the very stable configuration. So if any element has the configuration of an inert gas, that can be very stable. Now what is ionization potential? If any element can remove one electron, what will form? It will form a positive charge. So it will change some energy. So if we consider this element sodium, this is not very stable, but if it removes one electron, it can be the structure, it can gain the structure of neon, so it can be stabilized. Therefore the change in energy when one electron is ejected, this is known as ionization potential. Just remember this, the change in energy when one electron is removed from an atom is known as ionization potential. So if you go from top to bottom, what will happen? Always remember, from top to bottom the size of the atom is increasing. So every time we are increasing. For this one lithium we have 2 shells, for sodium we have 3 shells, for potassium we have 4 shells, even for latter 5 shells, 6 shells, 7 shells, but here we could not show. But remember, for any periodic table, if you go from top to bottom, as you move from top to bottom, every time it is adding one shell. So always I have mentioned some of them. The atomic radius is increasing the number of energy shells and decreasing the attraction between the center nucleus and the outermost electrons. So if it removes one electron, what will happen for this element? For this element, the attraction between the proton and the electrons is little bit more compared to this one, because outermost shell electron, if you consider outermost shell electron, this is little bit far away from the center. So the attraction between these elements is between the nucleus and the electron is little bit less. Therefore the it is easier to remove one electron. So for this one it is not so easy as much as easier for this one. So how much? This one will release more energy compared to this one. So it is easier. It is easier to remove electron. So for this one it is even easier. So as we go from top to bottom, the ionization potential. So what I have mentioned, as we go from the top to bottom, the ionization potential decreases, because as we see the interaction between the inner shell nucleus and outermost electrons decreases. So it is easier to remove one electron. But in case of period, if we go from left to right, what happens? Already mentioned, the size of the atom decreases as we go from left to right. Therefore the we do not increase the number of shells, we remain in the same shell. So the attraction between the nucleus and outermost electrons is increasing. Therefore it is difficult to remove one electron. Here we can see the example in the third period for sodium. For sodium, if you want to remove one electron, it needs around 496 kilojoule energy. For magnesium, 738. Aluminium, oh, for this one little, I think this is little bit wrong, or maybe I can check with other periodic table. Ionization potential, where is ionization? Okay, for sodium ionization 496, magnesium 737, and then aluminium. Oh, okay. So this one has a little bit different, so that cannot be easily defined why it has decreased. However, this is exception, so it do not follow all the rules. However, general trends, so general trends is always general, that means it can have some exceptions. For here we can find that sodium, magnesium, aluminium. For aluminium, the ionization potential is decreased, but we cannot explain, I cannot give you the exact reason why it decreases. So as we go from left to right, the ionization potential increases as normal. So this is the reason, as we go from left to right, the size of the atom decreases and the attraction between the nucleus and the outermost electrons is increased. Therefore it is harder, or it is difficult to remove one electron from the outermost shell. Therefore the ionization potential for the elements in a period increases from left to right. Now what is electron affinity? Any of you have the idea electron affinity? I think you are familiar with this word. Electron ashokti, electron affinity. Any of you? Affinity, that means attraction. Affinity attraction, so it is easier to remember. For any element, if the element attracts the electron very well or too much, then it has electron affinity high. And if do not attract any electron, in that case the electron affinity is very less. That means the energy change that occurs when an electron is added to a gaseous atom, sometimes it can have the positive value or it can have negative value. That means if it releases some energy, that means it becomes stable. In that case the electron affinity is more, and if it become unstable, in that case the electron affinity is positive. So the what is the electron affinity? The energy change when an electron is added to a gaseous atom. That means if you consider any atom in the periodic table, for this one it has the electronic configuration. Let us maybe go for another one. Want to go? Okay, yeah, this one. This element has the electronic configuration 2 7. That means outermost shell has one electron less compared to this one, because this element has the electronic configuration most stable in this period. So it has the electronic configuration 2 and 8. So when this element has the most stable configuration, the nearby elements will have some tendency to gain the configuration for this element. So it has a great tendency to attract one electron, and if it can have one electron from somewhere else, then it can have more stability. So it releases some energy when it gets some electron or get one electron. That means when an atom absorbs or when an atom gets an electron or an electron is added, for ionization potential we have mentioned that if we remove one electron, then it becomes a cation, and the energy change to remove one electron is known as ionization potential, and electron affinity is known as the energy change or energy required, or whatever it should be mentioned as energy change. The energy change when one electron is added to the atom in gaseous state. So as much as energy is released or gained, that is known the electron affinity. So here you can see the electron affinity for these elements. What is the electron affinity for this one? Fluorine. Electron affinity for fluorine is 328 kilojoule per mole. For oxygen 141, for nitrogen 7 kilojoule, carbon 153 kilojoule electron affinity, little bit more, but for here this is little bit exception. So here you can see as we move from right to left, the electron affinity decreases. For fluorine the electron affinity is very high, 328 kilojoule, for oxygen 141, for nitrogen 7 kilojoule, but this carbon is exception. So for boron 26 and beryllium 0, lithium it has some affinity, but that is also a little bit exceptional, I would say. So normally in general case we would say if we go from left to right, the electron affinity increases, or for if we consider for top right to left, the electron affinity decreases. So if you add one electron, the energy change due to addition of one electron is known as electron affinity. Now, what about electronegativity? Anyone have any idea what about the electronegativity? I would like to listen something from you. What is electronegativity? There was in my display, but I would like to listen from you. Anyone? Rabiul Hassan. Rabiul Hassan, what do you understand about the electronegativity? Any idea? Anyone? Electronegativity, that means when there is a bond, when there is a bond in between two atoms, it can be two, uh, it can be a metal or non-metal, it can be two non-metals or any other thing. So when two atoms bond together, in that case the bonded electrons are either shared or donated to the atoms. So if the atom is donated, in that case we have mentioned that it generates a cation. But for some covalent compounds, for some non-metal, if two non-metals come close together and they form a bond, in that case the electrons are shared in between both the atoms. In that case the electrons are occupied both the atoms, and but one thing, if the atoms have their electronegativity difference, if both the atoms have the same electronegativity, like as if we form hydrogen molecule, in that case both hydrogen have the same electron affinity. In that case the shared electron is shared equally both the atoms. But if we consider two separate or two different atoms, in that case the electron affinity of both the atoms are not same. So what happens? The electrons are attracted to a certain atom little bit more. If you consider for this one fluorine and sodium, fluorine and sodium or fluorine and chlorine, let us consider fluorine and chlorine, the electron affinity, or I can consider about oxygen and hydrogen, that would be even better because you are very familiar with the water molecule. So the electron affinity of oxygen is 141 kilojoule, but in case of hydrogen 72.8 kilojoule. So here you can see when hydrogen and oxygen are bonded together, in that case the shared electrons are attracted more towards the oxygen because the oxygen has higher electron affinity. So if hydrogen and oxygen are forming a bond or forming a molecule, in that case the shared electron is attracted more towards oxygen. So in that case the electron will stay more time towards the oxygen. Therefore there will be certain partial negative charge and partial positive charge to the hydrogen and partial negative charge to the oxygen. Therefore this is known the electronegativity. That means in a shared bond how the atom can attract the shared electron towards itself. That means if the atom, electronegativity is the measurement of an atom to compete for electrons in a bond. So if you have several bonds or several atoms in a bond, in that case if the shared electrons are attracted to a particular atom more compared to other, in that case the shared electron will stay little bit longer time towards the more electron affinity atom. Therefore that element is electronegative, more electronegative, and other one is less electronegative. So electronegativity is the comparative, just compare when a bond is formed, just how strongly the bonded electron is attracted towards itself. So the electronegativity is the measurement of an atom to compete for electrons in a bond, and how strongly the atom is attracted towards itself in a bond is known as electronegativity. And this is the end of today's class. If you have any questions or comments regarding this or anything else, then you are welcome to ask.